The students of Oak Ridge High School had arrived at Ashwood Cave, the destination of this year's annual nature trip. The cave was famous among the townspeople for the ancient legends that surrounded it. Some believed it held traces of lost civilizations, while others thought it concealed secrets that should never be uncovered. Mr. Bennett, a young and idealistic teacher known for his passion for history and love of adventure, had organized this trip to teach the students about nature and instill a sense of historical awareness. As the students stepped off the bus, they could feel the tranquility of this isolated area, surrounded by the silence of nature. The rustling leaves in the breeze and the chirping of birds offered a world far removed from the noise of the city. But Lydia, who had strong instincts and a curiosity for solving mysteries, sensed that something was lurking behind this peace. "There's something different about this place," she thought to herself. As the group moved towards the mouth of the cave, Mr. Bennett began to speak loudly about its history. Ashwood Cave has held many mysteries over the centuries. Artifacts found here suggest that ancient civilizations once lived in this area. But no one really knows what happened to them. The students listened to their teacher's enthusiasm as they stepped into the dark entrance of the cave. Lydia, Jackson, Maisie, Callum, Kit, and Finn hung back from the others, chatting amongst themselves. "I think the stories I've heard about this place might be true," Callum said, eyeing the cold walls of the cave. "A group of archaeologists worked here last year, but then they vanished without a trace," Finn added in a low voice. This caught everyone's attention. Lydia smiled slightly and said, "Maybe we'll find those archaeologists ourselves," but her expression couldn't hide the seriousness of the situation. As they ventured deeper into the cave, the group began to separate from the other students. While Mr. Bennett provided information in the safe area near the entrance, Lydia and her friends, driven by their curiosity, decided to explore further. Finn turned on his flashlight and pointed to a narrow passage. "We should go this way. The others won't follow us here, which means there's more for us to discover," he said with determination. As the passage narrowed, the cold and darkness intensified. Jackson was scanning the area with portable devices he had pulled from his backpack. "This place is really interesting. The devices are detecting some unusual energy fluctuations," he said in surprise. Kit noticed strange symbols and shapes on the walls. "These markings, they're very unusual. They might help us uncover the secrets of this place," he said, carefully touching the symbols. But then, the group began to feel a strange breeze. It was as if the cave itself was alive, pulling them deeper. As Lydia tried to figure out where the breeze was coming from, the ground suddenly started to shake. Small rocks began to fall from the walls, and cracks appeared here and there. "This is not a good sign," Finn said, his eyes fixed on the trembling ground. Suddenly, a large crack opened beneath them, and the group lost their balance, sliding down into a dark void. Everything happened so quickly. Screams echoed, lights dimmed, and darkness swallowed them whole. When they opened their eyes, they found themselves in a completely different landscape. The dark and narrow passages they had just been navigating were replaced by a vast, brightly lit cave. However, this cave felt like a gateway to another time. Everyone exchanged puzzled looks, trying to comprehend what had happened. Lydia stood up and asked, "Where are we?" Her voice was filled with both surprise and fear. Lydia widened her eyes as she scanned the surroundings, trying to understand how they had ended up here. Just moments ago, they were deep inside a dark cave, but now they found themselves in a bright, lush valley. The sky was a brilliant blue with hardly a cloud in sight. Birds were chirping, and vibrant flowers were blooming all around them. Despite the paradise-like appearance, the place instilled more unease than peace within them. "This can't be possible," Jackson said, looking around in amazement. "We were just inside the cave. How did we get here?" "Maybe we're dreaming," Maisie murmured, though she didn't believe it herself. Finn crouched down and scooped up some dirt in his hands. "This is real," he said, smelling the earth. "Too real to be a dream." Callum, staring at the towering trees ahead, asked, "So, where are we? Did we lose track of time, or were we somehow teleported?" Lydia wiped the sweat from her brow and took a deep breath. "Whatever happened, we're not alone here. Maybe this place is giving us a chance to find some answers." The group decided to move forward and explore their new surroundings. However, after taking just a few steps, they noticed that everything around them began to change in strange ways. The trees grew taller and older, and the daylight slowly began to fade. "Something's moving," Kit said as he turned on his flashlight and shone it around. He thought he could see indistinct figures among the shadows. Just then, in the distance of the valley, a group of human silhouettes appeared. But these people didn't look like anyone Lydia and her friends had ever seen. Their clothes seemed to belong to another era, and their weapons were a mix of metal and wood. The group watched in shock as the strangers stared back at them with the same bewilderment. This can't be real," Jackson said, rubbing his eyes. "These people look like they're from the Middle Ages." "Maybe we are in a different time period," Lydia suggested, her voice a mix of excitement and fear. "And they're probably wondering what we're doing here." For a moment, the group was at a loss for what to do. But soon, one of the strangers stepped forward and, in broken English, asked, "Who are you? How did you come to these lands?" Finn carefully responded, We came here by accident. We just want to go home." But the strangers weren't satisfied with Finn's answer. Their leader circled around the group, saying, "Strangers are not welcome here. How can we be sure you won't harm our world?" Lydia tried to remain calm as she replied, "We only want to leave. We don't mean any harm to you or your world." Suddenly, the ground began to shake. The strangers immediately stepped back, gripping their weapons. The earth was trembling, and the air seemed to vibrate in a strange way. As the group tried to figure out what was happening, a portal opened before their eyes. This portal was another doorway through time and might be their only way out. "What is that?" Callum asked, staring into the portal. Inside, swirling lights moved as if trying to pull them in. Lydia turned to the strangers and said, "Trust us, we just want to go." Then she signaled to her friends to move toward the portal. However, the strangers suddenly panicked, and one of them shouted, "That portal! Close it! It could be a trap!" Without hesitation, Finn ran toward the portal. "We don't have another chance," he said. "We have to try this." The others, though hesitant, followed Finn. Lydia looked back at the strangers one last time and said, "I hope this is the best choice for all of us," before stepping into the portal. As they passed through the portal, the world around them began to change again. Colors, sounds, and images blended together, as if time and space were losing their meaning. The group suddenly found themselves in another place, another time. But this time, everything was much more complex. After passing through the portal, the group found themselves in a strange city. It could be from the past or the future, or perhaps a mix of both. The buildings were modern yet ancient, the technology advanced yet simple. The people around them might hold the secrets of this new world. "What is this place?" Maisie asked, squinting as she looked around. "We're beyond time," Lydia said, taking a deep breath. "We need to find a way out of here. But I can't even imagine how difficult that's going to be." Lydia and her friends found themselves in a strange city where elements from both the past and the future coexisted in a single world. The city was a complex mix of towering skyscrapers and ancient temples standing side by side, with narrow streets lit by neon lights. The people around them looked just as bizarre. Some wore traditional clothing, while others had advanced cybernetic limbs. "This place is total chaos," Jackson said, gazing around in awe. "It doesn't belong to any time or place." "Maybe this is the center of time," Callum mused thoughtfully. "The past, the future, and the present, all together here." Lydia knew she had to come up with a plan to prevent them from getting even more lost. "Okay, we need to focus," she said firmly. "Our goal is to get home. We need to find someone in this city who can help us." As they wandered through the streets of this unknown world, they began talking to the locals. But no one could give them direct help. Instead, they only caused more confusion. After a while, an old man caught their attention. Dressed in a long robe with a gray beard, he looked like an ancient sage. Lydia approached him and said, "Excuse me, we don't know how we got here, and we don't know how to get out. Can you help us?" The man squinted at them, studying them closely. "Time travelers. It's rare for them to come here. But when they do, it's always difficult to return," he said with a deep sigh. "This city is the knot of time's flow. Here, all times exist together. How do we get out of here?" Finn asked impatiently. The man hesitated for a moment, then continued. "The center of time is in the tallest tower in the city. If you can reach it, you can untangle time and return to your own era. But be careful, The path to the tower is full of dangers." With the old man's guidance, the group began making their way toward the center of the city. Along the way, they encountered many obstacles, a strange mix of the past and the future. One moment, they were forced to fight ancient soldiers, and the next, they were being chased by high-tech robots. With every step, the threads of time became more tangled, and the dangers increased. Finally, they reached a massive tower. It was far taller than any other structure in the city, seemingly reaching up to the sky. The door was covered with enormous gears, and they needed to solve a puzzle to open it. "This must be a puzzle," Kit said, studying the gears with a precise mechanical voice. "If we need to untangle time, we probably need to align these gears correctly to open the door." The group racked their brains, trying to figure out the code that would open the door. The gears represented the past, the future, and the present. They had to find the right combination, or they wouldn't be able to enter the tower. Suddenly, an idea struck Lydia. "Time is an endless loop," she said, turning the gears. "The beginning and the end merge into the same point." When the gears clicked into place, the door opened with a loud clank. The group stepped cautiously into the tower. Inside, there was a giant clock representing time itself. Each gear of the clock controlled a different time period. Finn examined the clock carefully. "If we can wind this clock back, maybe we can return to our own time." Lydia approached the clock's control mechanism, gently placing her hands on it. "Are you ready?" she asked, taking a deep breath. The others nodded. Lydia began to wind the clock backward. As the clock turned, the world around them started to change. The city reshaped itself, and the threads of time began to unravel. Just then, the tower started to shake. "Hurry!" Jackson shouted as the walls trembled. When Lydia wound the clock all the way back, a brilliant light burst around them. The group vanished into the light and suddenly found themselves back in the cave. The world around them was silent and dark, but this time they were all safely in their own time. "We did it," Finn said, exhaling in relief. "We really did it." As Lydia moved toward the cave's exit, she said, "Yes, but this adventure has changed us," with a thoughtful expression on her face. "Nothing will ever be the same." When the group stepped out of the cave, the morning sun touched their faces. The world looked like a completely new place to them. They realized how much this experience had shaped them. They had now unlocked the secrets of time and space and knew that together they could overcome anything. This adventure had taken them not only on a journey through time but also on a journey within themselves. They had returned home, but this time they were much stronger and wiser. They had untangled the knot of time and reshaped their destiny. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, see you in the next story.